If you're looking for some extra inspiration to be thankful for this holiday season, look no further than Idaho State head cross country coach Nate Houle. This is his story. Your mind is a powerful thing when you fill it with positive thoughts, even in the most difficult times.
My name is Nate Houle. In October 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 maxillary sinus squamous cell carcinoma.
Some would say running is in Nate Houle's blood.
My parents both ran in college, and so it was kind of inherited in a way. My older sister, actually, she got invited by a friend to join what was called the Orem Track Club down in Utah. And my dad and mom didn't really even bring it up. I didn't know what track was, and she was like, "Hey Nate, come do it with us." I'm like, "All right."
Houle began specializing in running during high school. He even went on to compete at the Division I level. He attended Southern Utah University, where he was coached by his uncle, Eric Houle.
Everybody was there to be as fast as they could be, and we all put the work in, and everyone was willing to do what it took. And it was just getting into that environment, my love for it just, I guess, accelerated.
While at Southern Utah, Houle was plagued with injuries, causing him to spend time on the sidelines. But he didn't let that time go to waste. In fact, it helped him transition into coaching. He became a graduate assistant at Georgia State and then hired on as an assistant at Southern Utah, where he worked with his uncle.
I'd spent a lot of time on the sidelines already, being hurt so much, that it was really natural for me to be there again, and the transition was really seamless.
Houle was at Southern Utah for a year when the university hired a new president who decided not to renew his contract, leaving Houle with a young family and no job.
If I had my spreadsheet in front of me, I applied for 50 coaching jobs, and usually you hear back a little, and you're like, you made top 5, or you got a phone interview, and it was just like blank all the time.
Houle began his career with a software company in August of 2014, but he noticed a physical change in himself just 2 months later.
My eye was doing some weird stuff, my teeth were hurting, and I had all these weird symptoms. My nose had been bleeding for like weeks, and I'm like, this is odd. And so after a bit of that, I'm like, let's check this out. Just packed, like something was in there, and we, of course, assumed the best.
Houle had to shut down his new career to take care of his health, and he began to have more clarity on how he had gotten to this point.
At that moment, you start realizing maybe all the stuff that had happened before was like, I guess for a reason.
Houle was diagnosed with a form of sinus cancer. It was in its 3rd stage. When doctors broke the news, they told him he had a rough road ahead.
The tumor was encroaching on a lot of things it shouldn't be touching, and so the concern was really about whether or not my eye was gone or whether they'd be able to save that. Doctors like to sugarcoat things, and so they're like, there's a chance it'll survive. There's a good chance, it might work. And then we saw one surgeon up there who was kind of the second guy on this, Dr. Buckman, and he's like, no, dude, it's gone. He's like, I've been burned on this where we save it, it comes back, and the patient dies. And I'm like, oh, yeah, take the eye. I don't want to, I don't know, I'll take one eye over being dead,
Houle underwent an 18-hour surgery to get rid of the tumor. When he woke up, he had tubes down his throat and an eye patch over his left eye, so he didn't know whether or not doctors were able to save it.
Got the news that his eye was saved, and I instantly, it just hit me that it had to be a miracle.
It's basically sitting in a metal sling now. They moved right to the edge of it, and they were like, the margin on that was microscopic. But it's like I had no reason. I couldn't, find a reason to take it, and so they didn't. And they messed everything else up pretty good. And they took my fibula, basically the whole length of it. My whole face here is just bolted together, leg bone, and they used the tissue from my leg to reconstruct the inside of my mouth.
Starting in January, 5 days a week, Houle drove 45 minutes to Salt Lake getting radiation treatments. After months of recovering from the radiation and being in remission, he had a career choice to make. He was offered a job at the software company he worked at before, but he knew he had to follow his heart.
Once this cancer thing showed up and it kind of all made sense, I jumped back on the whole, coaching's what I do. 74, 75. Knowing my success rate, the previous round of applications was 0.0, and going into it again with a family and a kid, I'm like, dude, I got to make some money at some point, right? Came up, spoke with Jeff Tingy, and apparently I didn't, offend him too badly. So he gave me the job, and next thing I knew, we were in Pocatello.
I was ready and excited to get back into normal life, and this was what he had always wanted to do, was be a head coach and have his own program. And so I was just like so excited for him and for the outlook on our life.
I feel like I approach work every day with this new just happiness. I'm just grateful to be doing stuff that I love to do, and being able to do it as a healthy person and having a future actually available is nice.
You were given this life because you're strong enough to live it and powerful enough to overcome its obstacles.
My name is Houle, and I am a cancer survivor.
Really an incredible story, and Nate actually told me that the reason for all of his tears was because of the amount of support that he got from the community when he was going through that tough time. That's going to do it for sports. We'll be right back after this.